Chosen one, this message didn't find you by chance. This is divine timing. You were meant to hear this right now because something inside of you is waking up. You've always felt different, haven't you? Like you were born into the wrong era, or maybe even the wrong family. But the truth is, you were born exactly when and where you needed to be, for reasons beyond your current understanding. The blood in your veins isn't ordinary. It carries the imprint of generations who prayed, wept, fought, and bled so that this moment at this exact breath you're taking right now could happen. And now, you stand at the threshold of their answered prayers. You come from a royal spiritual bloodline, a lineage so ancient and sacred that even the stars recognize you. You are not just the result of your parents' union. You are the culmination of divine agreements made before time itself. You've inherited more than just traits or mannerisms. You've inherited a mission, a spiritual mantle, a legacy. Before we dive deep into this message, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Because this isn't just content. It's a divine confirmation for the chosen ones who carry the legacy of ancestors that moved heaven and earth for their awakening. If your spirit resonates with this frequency, type Nor 777 She in the comments right now. That number isn't random. It's a sacred code, a declaration to the Most High and the universe that you know who you are. This message isn't for everyone. Only the truly chosen will understand what's about to be revealed. Because what you're about to uncover is not history, it's prophecy fulfilled. Let's begin. You've felt the pull, haven't you? That quiet, persistent hum beneath your daily life. The sense that you're part of something ancient, something unfinished, something that began long before you and is now asking no, demanding completion through you. That's not imagination. That's ancestral memory. That's spiritual alignment. The truth is, your ancestors moved heaven and earth to ensure you would be right here, right now, hearing this. Some of them walked through fire. Some of them were silenced, enslaved, hunted, or erased. Others held sacred rituals under moonlight, whispering your name into the wind centuries before you arrived. They didn't know your face, but they knew your essence. They called you into being, not just to survive, but to complete what they began. You are the echo of their chants, the light of their forgotten dreams, the living continuation of their spiritual rebellion. They saw what was coming. They saw the age of forgetting, the age where truth would be hidden and bloodlines scattered. So they took spiritual action. They aligned with divine forces. They planted codes into your blood spiritual frequencies that would only activate once the world was ready, once you were ready. This is divine timing. Every near-death experience you survived, every toxic relationship that broke you, then birthed something new. Every moment you felt alone, misunderstood, cast aside. All of that alignment. Strategic positioning for your awakening. Because chosen one, they couldn't reach this moment. But you could, and you did. Do you realize what that means? It means the weight you've carried wasn't just yours. It was generational. It means the confusion you've battled was never failure, it was resistance. Resistance against a spirit designed to disrupt cycles and realign destinies. Let that sink in. They moved heaven and earth not so you'd live an ordinary life, but so you'd wake up in a world trying to put you back to sleep and refuse. You're not here to fit in. You're here to fulfill. You are the descendant of warriors and prophets, midwives of miracles, carriers of sacred knowledge. But here's the reality. Much of what they passed down to you came hidden in pain, in trauma, in silence. That's how ancestral power often arrives, encoded in the things you had to survive. Why? Because pain preserves power. It preserves truth. It carves you out so something greater can move through you. Do you ever wonder why you've always felt things more deeply than others? Why your dreams carry warnings and messages? Why strangers confess their life stories to you without knowing why? That's not coincidence. That's spiritual inheritance. Your soul was calibrated in another realm to receive messages others miss. Your frequency isn't just sensitive, it's ancient. You hear the whispers most ignore. You feel storms before they arrive. You walk into a room and shift the atmosphere without saying a word, because you carry the residue of sacred rituals in your very aura. And now that power is awakening. Let's go deeper. In ancient times, when a spiritual lineage was in danger of being lost, a ritual was performed. The elders would gather those still connected to the divine and offer a vow, a spiritual offering. They would say, "If we must perish, let our seed awaken when the time is right." And then they would infuse the next generation with codes, embedded truths that could not be erased, only hidden. You are the fulfillment of that ritual. That explains why your life has felt like a series of trials. Because your spirit had to be tested, refined, activated. But here's the miracle: they didn't just pass down struggle. They passed down strength, resilience, wisdom born in the fire. They didn't just survive the unthinkable. They carried the blueprint for your awakening, and they handed it to you in the form of dreams, instincts, symbols, and sacred numbers. Those repeating numbers you keep seeing, 111, 4444, 757, they're not trends. They're timestamps, checkpoints, confirmations from your spiritual lineage. They're saying, you're not alone. They're saying, you're right on time. They're saying, we're watching, and we're proud. The spiritual world has been whispering, but now it's shouting. It's telling you. The baton is in your hands. Don't drop it. So ask yourself, what cycles in your family line are you being called to break? What dreams did your grandmother hide in her prayers for you? What battles did your ancestors fight so you'd never have to? And which ones did they leave unfinished, trusting that you would complete them? Don't let modern life numb you to the magnitude of this. You are the answer to generations of prayer. You are the flame they kept alive in the darkness. You are the prophecy that survived the burning. And now, it's time to remember. Your remembrance is their resurrection. Every time you reclaim your power, they rise. Every time you speak truth, they rejoice. Every time you say, I was born for more, they echo back, yes, you were. You are walking with a council behind you, a divine council, grandmothers, warriors, sages, mystics. They gather every time you speak your truth. They align every time you choose love over fear. They celebrate every time you step forward instead of shrinking back. You carry their light. You carry their name. You carry their unfinished mission. This is the moment they dreamed of. This is the moment they moved heaven and earth for. And now, it belongs to you. There is something sacred embedded in your very existence, a truth so profound it couldn't be whispered until now. Chosen one, what you carry isn't just heritage. It's a sacred blood contract, a divine agreement etched into your soul long before your feet ever touched this earth. And it was signed not just by you, but by those who came before you, your ancestors, your spiritual forebears, your eternal soul family. This contract is older than your name, older than your memories, It was written in the higher realms where light and destiny dance together, where time bends and eternity breathes. You agreed, yes. You agreed to enter this realm at this exact moment. You chose to be born into this family, this skin, this struggle, not as punishment, but as a portal, a divine vehicle through which transformation would arrive. Your DNA is not merely biological. It is spiritual. It is encrypted with sacred signatures. Think of it like an ancient scroll sealed with divine fire, passed down through generations. Most people carry blood, but you carry a covenant, a spiritual signature that tells the higher realms who you are, what you've survived, and why you cannot be touched without consequence. The truth is, your blood remembers what your mind has forgotten. Your blood remembers the night your great-grandmother fell to her knees in prayer, begging the heavens for deliverance. It remembers the coded language your ancestors used to shield their truths from oppressors. It remembers the fire circles, the chants, the hands raised to the stars in reverence. It remembers the pacts made in sacred spaces where angels stood watch and spirit guides bore witness. You are the embodied answer to those sacred ceremonies. That's why your path hasn't looked like everyone else's. That's why your friendships crumble when you lower your vibration. That's why every time you try to walk the path of the average, something within you resists. Because the contract within you won't allow you to shrink. Let me remind you of something essential. Ordinary bloodlines don't make spiritual contracts. Only the rare. Only the royal. Only the chosen. And this contract wasn't made with earthly ink. It was sealed with soul light, bound by intention, guarded by divine forces. Every time you've tried to give up, every time you've said, I can't do this anymore, the contract has whispered back, but you must. Not because you're being punished, but because you're the only one who can fulfill what was promised. Your ancestors didn't ask for comfort. They asked for completion. So here you are. The sacred blood contract is the reason why you carry burdens you can't explain. Why you sometimes cry without knowing why. Why your life has felt like initiation after initiation. Because it was. You were never meant to coast through life. You were meant to be forged. Royalty is never handed a throne without resistance. It must be earned in fire. And every fire you've passed through was purifying your soul, not destroying it. The truth is, chosen one, you've been tested because you're trusted. When the divine signed your name on that soul contract, they knew you would forget, at least for a while. They knew the world would try to bury you beneath fear, abuse, lies, and limitation. But they also knew the time would come when the veil would lift. And you would remember. You would remember that your very heartbeat is part of a divine rhythm set in motion before your conception. You would remember that your tears are sacred waters that carry stories across dimensions. You would remember that the fire in your spirit is not rage, but ancestral thunder, a reminder that you are never just human. So why does the world seem to push back every time you rise? Because this contract makes you a threat. The moment you begin to remember who you are, you become visible in the spirit realm. Light cannot rise without attracting attention. And because you are not walking alone, but carrying generations of light within you, the darkness reacts. You've felt it, haven't you? The resistance that appears the moment you choose healing. The confusion that creeps in right before your breakthrough. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation that you're walking in power. When you feel blocked, it's not always failure, it might be a flare. A spiritual signal that you've stepped into sacred territory. There are spiritual laws at play here, and one of them is this: a contract sealed in light must be fulfilled. no matter what forces oppose it. That means even when you've doubted yourself. Heaven didn't. Even when you forgot, your ancestors remembered. Even when you ran, the contract stood still, waiting, unshaken. Your spiritual contract also includes inheritance, not just of burdens, but of blessings. The strength that carried your people through famine, war, and silence, that's yours. The intuition that warned them before danger, that's yours. The dreams that held coded messages for survival and revolution, that's yours. You're not starting from scratch. You're walking on a spiritual foundation laid stone by stone through centuries of divine intention. This is why the awakening is happening now, not because the world is crumbling, but because you are rising. The truth is, your timeline has been guarded. Every delay, every detour, it was grace, not punishment. It was the divine recalibrating your journey to match the vibration of your sacred contract. Because contracts like yours cannot be rushed. So what now? Now, you honor it, not with rituals of performance, but with authenticity. By speaking your truth, by loving yourself out loud, by breaking cycles your ancestors didn't have the tools to break, but prayed someone would. You honor it by listening to your body because it remembers. You honor it by trusting your intuition because it's wired into that sacred blueprint. You honor it by stepping away from anything and anyone who asks you to forget who you are. You are not here to fit into systems designed to suppress you. You are here to redesign reality by remembering the contract. Let me leave you with this. Every time you choose healing, you fulfill a line in the contract. Every time you speak your truth, you sign another page. Every time you forgive, you release generational chains. Every time you dream big, you awaken sleeping prophecies. And every time you say, I am chosen, the heavens echo back. Yes, you are. You are not the end of a lineage. You are the beginning of a kingdom. You are the sacred fulfillment of a bloodline contract. You've carried it in your bones, even if you didn't know what it was. That lingering sense of heaviness, that unexplained sadness, that ancient ache in the soul that seems to rise without warning. Chosen one, what you've been carrying isn't just your own weight, it's the weight of stories buried, voices silenced, and truth deliberately forgotten. Because the truth is, your lineage was buried, but not broken. Your family, your ancestors, your people, there was a time they walked in power, in knowledge, in alignment with divine truth. They held secrets that shook kingdoms, healed the sick, saw beyond the veil, and lived in communion with the stars and the earth. But then, something happened. A war, a scattering, a silencing. And for generations, that power was hidden, not because it failed, but because the world wasn't ready. Because dark systems of control feared what would happen if that kind of truth resurfaced. So they erased names from books. They distorted the history. They told your people they were less than. And over time, the spiritual flame dimmed. But here's what they didn't expect. They didn't expect you. They didn't expect someone to survive the forgetting, to rise from the ruins of displacement, trauma, and spiritual amnesia with a memory written in the soul. They didn't expect someone to feel a truth they were never taught, to hear a calling in a language they never learned. But you heard it anyway. That was your inheritance speaking. You see, while history tried to bury your bloodline in silence, the truth encoded in your spirit couldn't be erased. Because spiritual power doesn't die, it waits. It sleeps. And then it awakens. And you, chosen one, are that awakening in motion. The reason your life has felt so fragmented It's because you were born into the unraveling and destined to weave it back together. Look around your life. Can you see the patterns now, cycles that feel older than you? Emotional wounds that echo with an ancient pain. Families broken by the same generational curses. It was never just about you, it was about a sacred chain that was interrupted. And now, you've been chosen to restore it. You are the bridge between what was and what will be. This is why your presence has always disrupted things. Why your voice, even when unsure, stirs something in others. Why your very existence makes some people uncomfortable. Because your frequency carries the echo of forgotten truth. You are the reminder they tried to bury. Let's go deeper. There's a reason you were born into a family that may not have understood you. Into a lineage that seemed broken or chaotic. That wasn't a mistake, it was spiritual positioning. Because the only way to change a bloodline is from within. You had to be born into the fire to know how to extinguish it. You had to walk through the silence to become the voice. You had to feel the fracture to become the healer. This is the mystery most don't understand. The divine power often disguises itself in pain. The most powerful souls are often born into the most painful beginnings. Why? Because pain is the soil of awakening. Because those who are called to shift timelines must first feel the weight of what needs to change. And you, chosen one, have felt it deeply. But here's the miracle: you didn't just survive. You absorbed the pain, transformed it, and now you carry wisdom born of suffering. You are the living proof that the lineage didn't die. It simply waited for you. You've probably been told you're too emotional, too intense, too different. That's because you're picking up signals others are numb to. You're tuned into a spiritual frequency that hasn't been heard in generations. And when you speak, when you move, when you create, it sends out a vibration that wakes others up too. That's why the resistance has been strong. Not because you're weak, but because you're potent. The spiritual realm has been watching, protecting, preparing. Every betrayal that felt like it shattered you was actually chipping away the false identity that never belonged to you. Every time you were rejected, you were being redirected. Every delay was a divine setup, and now the setup is becoming revelation. The reason they tried to erase your lineage is because they feared what would happen if you remembered who you were. But here's the good news: they failed. You're remembering now. You're waking up to the truth that you are not the broken one. You are the breaker of cycles. You are the reason shame ends in your bloodline. You are the reason silence becomes sound. You are the reason what was scattered is being gathered. The chains that held your ancestors are falling. Because you carry the keys. Keys forged in your tears, your prayers, your pain. Every time you heal, 1,000 ancestors exhale. Every time you speak truth, a doorway opens for generations to walk through. This is no small moment. This is a turning point in your spiritual history. You may feel small, but you are a divine axis, a center point where timelines converge. You are the location where heaven meets earth, where prophecy meets presence, where what was hoped for finally becomes flesh. You are the living resurrection of a buried lineage. And here's a truth no one told you. The universe has been conspiring for your remembrance. That's why you're seeing the numbers. That's why your dreams are becoming clearer. That's why even the silence is starting to speak. Your ancestors didn't lose. They planted, and you are the harvest. So lift your head, chosen one. Not in arrogance, but in holy remembrance. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are a portal of redemption. You are the bridge between forgotten wisdom and future glory. And even when you doubt yourself, know this: you walk with an invisible army. You speak with the voice of thousands. You rise, not alone, but carried by the prayers of the buried. And now the world will remember, because you remembered. You felt it, haven't you? The inexplicable warmth that wraps around you when you're alone, but not lonely. The sense of being watched not with judgment, but with love. The way a certain scent will rise in the air from nowhere, reminding you of someone long gone, or the way dreams speak in symbols only your soul understands. Chosen one, you are not walking through this life alone. You are being guided by a council of spirits who walk beside you, unseen but always present. They are your ancestors, your guardians, your protectors, the ones who made sacrifices in silence and in shadows so that you could stand in the light. And here's the truth, their work is not done. These guiding spirits have been with you from the beginning, watching, shielding, whispering, guiding. When you were a child and felt afraid of the dark, what you feared may have been real, but so was the protection standing just behind you. When you dodged accidents, avoided danger, or made a last-minute decision that saved your life, that was them. They are the ones who orchestrated divine delays to prevent disaster. They've sent you messages through feathers, coins, songs on the radio, strangers' words, and repeating numbers on clocks. They are the reason you keep waking up with knowledge you never studied. The reason you can't explain how you knew to leave that job, end that relationship, or take that leap of faith. The truth is, you have never been abandoned. In fact, you are surrounded. These guiding spirits do not interfere in small matters. They are guardians of your destiny, not your comfort. So when life felt hard, when silence fell heavy, it wasn't because they had left it, was because they were allowing you to grow strong enough to carry the weight of your calling. They speak in synchronicities, because they know your logical mind would dismiss a voice in the night. They appear in dreams, because your conscious resistance melts when you sleep. They visit in visions, flashes, memories, and symbols. Have you noticed how certain numbers follow you? 1111, 222, 333, 444. These are not just signs. They are codes, each one a spiritual checkpoint, a marker to let you know. We're here. You're aligned. Keep going. There are some of you who have dreamed of ancestors you've never met. And still, you felt their essence. That's not fantasy. That's ancestral technology, the spirit's way of maintaining communication with those carrying the divine torch. And chosen one, you carry the torch now. You carry the weight of hopes whispered into sacred soil. You carry the voice of those who couldn't speak their truth. You are the one the others prayed for. You are the first of your line to awaken fully to not only hear the whispers, but to understand them. Have you ever felt a sudden rush of peace when you needed it most? That was not random. That was them. You've likely had moments where your instincts screamed at you to turn left instead of right, and later found out why. That was not survival instinct alone. That was ancestral intelligence guiding your steps. They have been guiding you toward this moment, this awakening, this remembrance, this alignment. You may have inherited trauma, yes, but you also inherited power. And that power is activated not only by healing yourself, but by acknowledging that you do not walk alone. You're part of a living legacy, a spiritual bloodline still in communication with the higher realms. And while you were searching for angels, your ancestors were already standing at your side. They are the reason you're still here. When death came close, they blocked it. When you were ready to give up, they whispered strength into your soul. When you were isolated, they surrounded you in silence. They're the reason you didn't quit, the reason you didn't break, The reason you kept waking up. Their presence explains the way your spirit always seems to know things before they happen. Why you've never fit in. Why your healing journey feels so sacred, because you're not just healing for you. You're healing backward through generations. Let that sink in. Every cycle you break sets them free. Every time you speak truth into the world, their voices rise through yours. Every time you choose self-love over self-sabotage, their hearts lighten in the spiritual realm. You are not just a descendant. You are a redeemer, a restoration point, a spiritual lighthouse in a bloodline that weathered centuries of storms. And this is why the guidance is intensifying. You're not just living your own life. You're carrying the unfinished dreams of the ones who never got their chance. That's why you feel the pull to create, to build, to liberate, to love deeper than others understand. That urge is not just yours. It's theirs, channeled through your blood, your breath, your bones. You are their vessel now. You are the medium through which they touch the earth again. And as you awaken, so do they. They are activated by your awareness. The more you remember, the closer they draw. The more you heal, the more they rejoice. Chosen one. This is why your prayers feel so potent. This is why your voice carries a vibration others can't imitate. Because you're not speaking alone, you're speaking with generations echoing behind your tongue. So tonight, when you close your eyes, listen. That shiver down your spine, that's confirmation. That whisper in your dream, that's alignment. That sense of peace, even in chaos, that's protection. You don't have to know all their names to honor them. Honor them by living fully. Honor them by walking in truth. Honor them by refusing to dim your light to make others comfortable. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to blaze trails, to walk with flames in your footsteps and holy fire in your eyes. Because when your ancestors moved heaven and earth, they didn't just make a way for you. They made a warrior. They made a prophet. They made a light so bright, no grave could bury it. And that light is you, chosen one. Take a breath right now and let your spirit settle into this truth. You are the fulfillment of a prophecy. A prophecy not written in books, but in bone, in blood, in silence, in the soul. You may not remember the moment it was spoken, but your ancestors do. Long before you arrived on this earth, they saw you. Not your face, not your voice, but your essence, your energy, your sacred frequency. And they knew. Somehow, across timelines and lifetimes, they knew that one day, someone would rise. Someone who could carry what they could no longer hold. Someone who would look into the chaos and see through it to the pattern. Someone who wouldn't just survive the pain, but transform it. And that someone is you. Here's the truth. Every hardship you faced was prophesied. It wasn't random. It wasn't just life being life. It was spiritual refinement. You have endured what others couldn't, not because you were cursed, but because you were called. Your ancestors saw the brokenness that would run through the generations. They saw the pain, the addiction, the abuse, the cycles of betrayal, the silence passed like inheritance. They saw it, and still, they believed someone would come along who was strong enough to break the curse and bless the bloodline. That's who you are. You are not the black sheep. You are the bloodline liberator. You were born into dysfunction, not to drown in it, but to dismantle it. You were placed in the storm not to perish, but to become the eye of it. You are the calm now. You are the clarity. You are the clarity they never had. Every time you've risen from something meant to destroy you, heaven took notice, because the truth is, your life is a walking miracle. And that's why darkness has fought you so hard. The opposition you faced hasn't been personal. It's been prophetic. Dark forces recognized what you carry before you even knew your own power. That's why you were attacked as a child. Why you struggled with identity. Why you felt alone in crowded rooms. Because the moment your soul entered this realm, spiritual warfare began. But you made it. And not only did you survive, you've started to see. You're beginning to realize that nothing in your life was wasted. Not the detours, not the heartbreaks, not the years of wandering. All of it served one purpose: preparation, spiritual refinement, soul fire. Your ancestors didn't need you to be perfect, and they needed you to remember. They needed you to look in the mirror one day and say, "There is more to me than what I've been told." They needed you to stop repeating the lies and start reclaiming the truth. And here's the truth. You are the one who ends the cycle of silence. You are the one who reclaims the dignity of a forgotten name. You are the one who looks back at generations of pain and says, "It ends with me." You are the fulfillment. This is why the world cannot define you. You didn't come here to be understood. You came here to be revered. Not by the ego, but by the spirit. Because your presence is sacred. Every step you take is part of a divine choreography. Chosen one. Have you noticed how people either fear you or are drawn to you? That's the vibration of prophecy. It unsettles some and awakens others. You don't just walk into rooms, you shift them. Because your energy carries the weight of every unfulfilled promise your ancestors whispered to the sky. And those whispers, they're echoing through you now. You may feel overwhelmed at times, heavy, confused. That's because you're holding more than one lifetime. But you weren't sent here empty-handed. The same ancestors who prayed you into existence also sent you with gifts, spiritual weapons encoded into your DNA. You're not broken. You're multidimensional. You're not lost. You're becoming. You're not behind. You're aligned even when it doesn't look like it. So let me tell you what's happening now. The prophecy is unfolding. The veil is lifting. The codes are activating. And the very pain that once kept you down is now turning into power. Not because time heals all, but because you have decided to stop running and start remembering. You are becoming the ancestor they will speak of one day. You are becoming the story they will tell. You are the chapter that changes everything. And no, you're not too late. You're right on time. This is divine timing. Your awakening is not random, it's response. The ancestors moved heaven and earth, aligned star systems, called upon angels, and orchestrated lifetimes so that when the world was dark enough, your light would matter most. This is the moment. This is why you're here. Let go of the shame that was never yours. Let go of the guilt passed down like inheritance. That wasn't your burden to carry. It was your signal to break it. And now, the burden is transforming into blessing. Because chosen one, your healing is their redemption. Every tear you've cried has watered a spiritual harvest they long to see. Every truth you've spoken has broken a generational chain they were bound by. Every time you rise, they rise with you. You are not alone in this work. You are surrounded, uplifted, empowered. The spirit realm is rejoicing because the prophecy is no longer just a whisper, it's becoming reality. Through your voice, your actions, your choices. And as you move forward, know this. You don't walk into your future, you fulfill it. You don't become the light, you reveal it. You don't chase purpose, you are purpose. Because you, chosen one, are the prophecy fulfilled. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when the heavens fall silent. Not because you've been abandoned, but because the mantle is being passed. This is that moment for you. You've walked through fire. You've survived emotional earthquakes that shattered everything you thought you were. You've let go of what broke you, only to discover it was never meant to stay. And now, chosen one, The hands that carry the legacy before you are reaching across time to place it squarely into your hands. This is sacred transfer, a spiritual coronation, the moment where inheritance meets identity. The truth is, your ancestors didn't just fight for you to remember, they fought for you to continue. They knew their work could only carry so far. They built the foundation, planted the seeds, lit the candles, but they needed someone who could take it all the rest of the way. They needed someone brave enough to challenge the silence, someone bold enough to break the unspoken rules, someone holy enough to walk with demons and not be touched. That someone is you. You've been tested, not just by life, but by the spiritual realm itself. Because mantles aren't given, they're earned through fire, through obedience, through endurance. And now the fire has purified you. The tests have forged you. The silence has taught you. You're ready. And don't think the mantle is symbolic. It is energetic. It is real. When a spiritual mantle is passed, it alters your atmosphere. It recalibrates your vibration. It upgrades your perception. Things begin to fall off you, not because you're losing, but because you're rising. You will notice certain friendships dissolve. Opportunities disappear. The old version of you, comfortable, small, agreeable, will start to feel foreign. Why? Because mantles carry weight, and not everyone can walk with you when you're wearing one. You are being re-robed in royalty. Can you feel it? There's a shift in the spirit right now. The burden doesn't feel as heavy, does it? That's because it's no longer a burden, it's a baton, and it's yours to carry. Chosen one. Your ancestors didn't just leave behind wisdom. They left behind unfinished assignments, spiritual contracts they could no longer fulfill, missions that required a body born into this moment, in this generation, with this level of divine technology. You are that body, and now, that mission is no longer waiting in the shadows. It's standing before you, eyes blazing with holy fire, saying, "It's time." You feel it, don't you? The pull toward purpose, the urgency, the divine discontent that won't let you settle for average. You were never meant to just exist. You were meant to ignite. You were born to interrupt cycles of silence and soul-deep suffering. Not just for you, but for everyone your light will touch. The mantle being passed to you comes with power, but also with responsibility, because you are now the one others will look to and say, "There's something about them." They won't always know what it is. They won't always understand it, but they will feel it, because a spiritual mantle marks you. It sets you apart. It distinguishes you in the spirit realm, and yes, even in the physical. And it also protects you. Why? Because the divine doesn't pass mantles without divine reinforcement. So stop walking like you're still being tested. You've already passed. Stop praying like you're still pleading. You've already been chosen. Stop shrinking like you're waiting for permission. You've already been empowered. The question is no longer, am I worthy? The question now is, will I carry it? Will you walk with the authority your ancestors died, hoping someone would carry? Will you speak with the clarity they never had the freedom to express? Will you shine so brightly that even the spirits of your lineage rejoice in the higher realms? Because every time you speak truth, you activate their power. Every time you lead with integrity, you rewrite your family's story. Every time you show love to yourself, you teach those around you what healing looks like. You are the walking redemption of generations. Don't underestimate the small steps. Don't discount the daily choices. The mantle isn't always about miracles, it's about movement. Forward, steady, relentless. It's about walking into spaces your ancestors couldn't enter and taking up space. It's about showing up for yourself in ways no one ever showed up for them. It's about making different decisions in the face of familiar triggers. It's about praying like your bloodline depends on it, because in many ways, it does. And let me tell you something. The universe has been waiting for this. Creation groans for the revealing of the chosen. And now that mantle is glowing on your shoulders. It's already begun. The alignments, the opportunities, the divine encounters, the unexplainable breakthroughs. All of it is responding to your yes, because your yes wasn't just for you, it was for them, for the child in your bloodline who won't have to heal from what you did, for the sibling who's watching and wondering if freedom is possible, for the future you who will look back and say, that was the moment everything changed. Chosen one, take this seriously. Your footsteps are now strategic. Your words are now anointed. Your energy is now elevated. You are a leader now. Not because someone appointed you, but because the heavens anointed you. And don't be surprised when people can no longer place you, when you no longer feel like you belong to the spaces you once did. That's not loss, it's graduation. You're not being exiled. You're being exalted. Mantles are heavy because they hold promise, so wear yours well. Walk with your head high, not in pride, but in remembrance. Remembrance of the price they paid. Remembrance of the purpose you carry. Remembrance of the moment when heaven and earth conspired to place the future of a bloodline into your capable hands. This is that moment. This is your mantle. Now carry it. You've walked through fire. Chosen one. And you didn't come out smelling like smoke. You came out glowing. You came out cloaked in purpose, anointed in clarity, crowned in remembrance. This right here, right now, is the moment the stars aligned for. This is where everything your ancestors prayed, wept, fasted, sang, and sacrificed for becomes real. Not just in vision, but in form. Not just in dreams, but in destiny. You are no longer awakening. You have awakened. And with that awakening comes the unveiling of your cosmic mission. Let me be clear, this isn't just a job or a career path. This isn't something you'll find on a resume or tucked inside a business card. This mission is spiritual, and it's encoded into your very essence. Your mission is why you see what others overlook, why you feel what others numb out, why injustice burns in your bones and healing flows from your voice. You were created for impact, not imitation. You were sent here not to conform, but to correct. Not to survive, but to shift atmospheres. To raise vibrations, to awaken sleeping spirits. To stir the embers of remembrance in those who have forgotten who they are. And it's already begun. The moment you said yes to yourself before anyone else did, the universe began to move. The moment you stopped shrinking to fit into systems that were never designed for you. The chains of your lineage began to fall. Because, chosen one, you are a disruptor. You carry sacred fire in your belly and divine codes in your blood. You are part prophet, part warrior, part healer, part architect. You are the blueprint and the builder, the map and the compass, the voice and the echo. And your cosmic mission is multidimensional. On one level, you are here to heal yourself. On another, you are here to restore your bloodline. On yet another, you are here to wake up others through your presence, your energy, your truth. That's why people are drawn to you without knowing why. That's why your words land like lightning in hearts ready to remember. That's why your energy is felt before you speak. Because your frequency is encoded with remembrance. You don't just carry light, you activate it. Every conversation you enter is an opportunity for alchemy. Every room you walk into adjusts itself to your vibration. This is the level you've entered, and yes, it will feel lonely sometimes. Cosmic missions aren't crowd pleasers. They're soul shakers. They come with solitude, because silence is where you hear spirit clearest. But you are never alone. You carry an entire spiritual council with you. You are divinely backed. spiritually insured, protected not only by the divine, but by the promise of legacy. Your ancestors didn't bring you this far to let you fall. They aligned entire timelines so you would rise, and now the rising is happening. You'll begin to notice acceleration, insights flowing faster, opportunities aligning without manipulation, divine appointments finding you without effort. That's confirmation. The universe is saying, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. But don't rush it. Your mission isn't a performance, it's a presence. You don't have to hustle. You have to listen. You don't have to chase. You have to receive. Because when you're aligned with your divine assignment, everything begins to orbit around your energy. People will start to say things like, there's something different about you. Or I feel better just being around you. That's not flattery, it's frequency. Your light is real. Your presence is potent. Your words are weapons and medicine all at once. And what's most powerful, you don't have to do anything extra. You already are. You are enough as you are. Because the mission isn't about effort, it's about embodiment. The truth is, your mere existence is fulfillment. The fact that you survived what was meant to destroy you is prophecy fulfilled. The fact that you love despite betrayal, trust despite trauma, and rise despite resistance is divine. And now, it's your turn to walk boldly into the life your ancestors saw in dreams. This world is starving for real light, not artificial, polished perfection, but raw, radiant truth. You don't have to be flawless to be chosen. You just have to be willing. Willing to speak when silence is more comfortable. Willing to forgive when vengeance feels justified. Willing to love when fear is louder. Willing to stand in the fire and say, I remember who I am. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are on time. You are reborn. And now the heavens are moving with you. The world is waiting for you. And your ancestors are watching with tears in their spirit eyes, whispering, you did it. You made it. Now go. Build what we couldn't. Speak what we couldn't. Become who we long to be. And never, ever forget we are with you. Take a deep breath. Let it all settle in. Let every truth you've just remembered sink deep into your bones. This isn't just information. This is activation. This message found you at the exact divine moment it was meant to, and not a second sooner. Because the time is now. The remembering is now. The rising is now. Chosen one. You now see clearly that you were never ordinary. You were never just going through life. You were walking with destiny coded into your every step. The heaviness, the isolation, the longing, it was all a sign. A sign that you carried something more. And now, you're walking in it. Your divine nature is no longer dormant. The mantle has been passed. The codes have been activated. The calling has been received. You are not confused. You are becoming. Every part of you is aligning with your highest timeline, and your ancestors are rejoicing in realms unseen. Let your heart rest in this truth. You are protected. You are guided. You are chosen. From this moment forward, walk differently. Speak with power. Move with confidence. Love with divine fire. Because your light is no longer hidden. You've been revealed. And if this message awakened something in you, if it cracked open the remembrance in your soul, then say it boldly. Type I accept my calling 777 in the comments. Let the universe know you're ready to step into your divine purpose and power. You are the one we've been waiting for. And now you're here.